Today on Gamers Couch.
The year is ending. Help us.
Apocalypse? No, it's just a review, folks. Don't worry. Cheers to the year ending, to lots of board games. We gotta taste our drink. What did you mix us, sweetheart?
This is iced tea, as they call it. So, cheers.
Cheers.
Yep, that's quite icy.
Yeah, it has quite the booze. In celebration of the year ending and this being the last Gamers Couch for 2016, we allowed ourselves a drink.
Finally respite from us being the talky talks.
Yeah, we're gonna be back in January. I forgot the date.
Maybe.
Definitely. The week of the 9th of January. That Sunday then. So, that was cryptic, right? Don't play with my Wally.
That came
We're going to
wrong.
be back then. Yeah. So, before we start our review of the year, please admire my sweet advent calendar gift from hubby. He's so cute. I had to have him on this show. And, you can unpack your last box.
Shall we do that after the...
Before or after?
Let's do that after. So
after. So you want to tease them longer.
If you're not particularly interested of what my advent calendar looks like, I don't begrudge you. We'll do that after we...
Or maybe they are just interested for that and now you have to make them sit through the whole shebang.
Then skip ahead.
Don't. We've got interesting thoughts coming up. Of course, they're all very subjective. They are all opinions. So if you do not...
That's not true. Everything I'm saying is the absolute truth. So whatever I say, the universe has to form around that truth and make it truth.
That's the first step to insanity. Anyway, he's on a good path, isn't he? So, we're reviewing our year, and I just remembered, if you're new to the channel, haven't seen the show, didn't know who we are, this is Daniel, my husband, I'm Sarah, the artist behind Pinselgeschichten, owner of this channel, and we do love board games. Hence, we talk about them throughout the year, and the last Gamers Couch of every year is reviewing. Now, let me give you some stats. Because I'm the girl that keeps track of what we play. We played 109 different games, and we played 262 rounds of games at our house and BGG-Con. I did not write down the games that we played at your mom's house or parents' house. At my mom's house, we didn't write those down. The game that we played most, 20 times, is Timeline. Well, it's a lovely dinner game, so of course it has
short.
Of course it has more plays in there.
The Waldorf and Settler line, it's short. I like it. Does apply to this one. And
that's not what she said.
And it is about the thing I just said. Stating this is the truth, and then unfortunately you must reveal the card, and then the card it has a different truth.
Yeah, well, I figure sometimes you just write down your own cards, year numbers when I'm not looking, just to not fail 80% of the time like I do. So anyway, we're gonna talk now about the tops.
By the way, these are the top games of played. The games we like best that, first of all, came out in 2016.
Or that we bought in 2016.
That kind of entered our life in 2016 in one way or another, although that is slightly cheating. But I would say most games on our list probably are from 16, right?
All of mine are from. Oh well, I don't know if some did come out I'm very sure though.
You may scold us on.
Yeah, but they entered our life in 2016. That's our.
Yeah, with the premise that we actually played this and not just looked at it or got hyped up for. Although this is not taken from the list of games we had on the couch in 2016.
And it's not
actually,
the games that we...
That could have been something afterwards that we could have done, but I forgot to look them up.
Oh, well, I got them here. Since we're today recording with the second camera, which is usually over top, we are now able to use the iPad for my videos. I can sign in because
I would need a minute to ponder upon that, but maybe next time.
I can cut it.
Maybe
we'll see how
or we'll do that next time. That we
let us know if you want to know, because we are definitely writing things and ideas and comments and feedback down for next year. So feel free.
So now we are talking about
the top lists. So now the question is, which one do you want to start with? With the top 3 games?
Sure.
So then, do you want to start competitive or cooperative?
Let's start with our top 3 picks for competitive games of 2016.
Yeah. It could be, looking at my list yesterday, I was actually giggling a lot because it could be that I'm stuttering. I'm not. It's just all different games. I'm already warning you there. We don't know each other's lists, so this is a surprise and not rehearsed at all. So let's start. I even
forgot what I wrote down, so it's a surprise for all of us.
That's why I write it down, so I don't have to remember. So let's go with the top 3s.
Did you order yours?
Yes, I did.
Oh, I
have a top 1.
Oh,
You didn't?
I then have to think about, but I think I can agree on a top 1 on.
Okay, so what would be your third?
For competitive game, I think my number 3 would be Adrenaline. I really enjoyed Adrenaline. I like that it is, while there is a lot of game, it is still fast-paced, it is over quickly, and I think that is the kind of game I want to now play instead of something like King of New York or King of Tokyo or something like that.
I want to leave King of New York or King of Tokyo to the parents or the kids. But when I have gamers around, I want to play Adrenaline.
It is not as simple as let's say King of Tokyo, but I have the same feeling, and I like Adrenaline a little bit better.
Yeah, and it's not as luck based, so it's definitely higher on your like list.
So it's scratching the fast paced game itch for me while not being too loosely luck-based and making it interesting.
Yeah, I like that. I didn't have that on my list. My number 3 is Tricarion. We bought it.
I thought that we had that last year because
no, we didn't buy it last year. It was very early, like February or March that we got it delivered. I was unsure about that too.
Then I need to arrange. I was under the impression that we got that last year. See how well we researched.
The problem is that we do not record 31st of December, so we buy and get games after we record the review, but. Technically, it's New Year because things. If we're slightly off a tiny bit, excuse that. It's just my personal list. I really liked it because it was a new theme that is magic, but not in the sense of fantasy world, but more like you're performing. I like that a lot, and the artwork and the stuff's just gorgeous.
Now I don't want to chicken out. So I'll stick to my original list, but my number 2 would probably have been replaced by Tricarion because it also starts with a T.
Funny.
My number 2 is Terraforming Mars. A game that is entirely different from something like Adrenaline, and you'll find that I think all 3 of my games are very different from each other in certain extent.
Same, yeah.
They cover different levels of gameplay complexity. They cover different so that's actually why I didn't really order my list. But there's a clear number 1 on all my 3 picks.
Well, there is a number 1 on the competitive. Not because of the mechanic, but because of another thing. Otherwise, it could have been a number 2 or a number 3. And I could, exchange all of my numbers no matter what.
So for me, Adrenaline and Terraforming Mars are essentially on the same spot. And if I had remembered, I probably would have picked Tricarion although I have to say, I like about my 3 picks that they're so different. If I would put Tricaran on there, it might be a little bit too similar to my first pick. But we'll get to yours.
My number 2 is Scythe, which scratched the itch of, I so badly want to work a placement with a twist, and I want battle, but not necessarily aggression.
Area control without the
things that are
parts.
Yeah, so here's the thing: if you don't know me very well, if you never met me in real life and had a long conversation about board games with me, you might not know that I'm not very fond of area control games. But I know Wally agrees. See, he doesn't know me that long, but he's a robot. He can read my mind.
Yes, that's what robots do.
Yes, of course, especially the ones that like the plants and Eva.
Just for clarification, this is
water.
actually vodka.
Water or tonic. So what Scythe does for me is it makes me like area control, because it does it in a way that I can digest, and it has more going on than just area control. So yeah, also artwork, gorgeous. That's a theme in my games. On the competitive side, I think I'm in love with all the artwork that the artists produced for their games. So it's extraordinarily beautiful.
Then I'll go ahead because we have a double nomination, because my number 1 is Scythe. So I really adore that game. Mostly, I don't mind area control games and the conflict, but I really like if a game has multiple paths to victory that are balanced out good enough, and that you can be successful on your path as long as you kind of stick to it, while still having some interference with other players, but nothing that kind of throws you out of the game entirely. As I said, I don't mind aggression. I like about Scythe that there is a path to victory that would lead through aggression.
But it's not necessary.
It's not necessary.
You can get around. You can just pick and poke.
Yes.
You don't have to punch each other in the jaw.
And it's not the good old rock, paper, scissors where there's 3 kind of big decisions to make, or big paths to take down the road, and they kind of counter each other. For me, Scythe, with the different victory conditions, really makes it interesting in regards to what you want to do. Do you want to focus entirely on upgrading yourself, or do you want to win by exploration? Do you want to win by combat? It's neat, and it's neat
Definitely.
that it's really that balance. So that is also, despite maybe it might be a bit pricey in the deluxe edition, but that would be certainly a game. Actually, I would recommend all 3 of those games if someone was looking for something.
Yes, I would say, if you can somehow manage and afford those games, buy them. If you like those mechanics, they're really, really very well done. And we're people that try a lot of games. We're always curious, and we're always open-minded when it comes to trying new games and seeing, what are they about? And it's not very often that we say, this is total crap. We often say, this is what this and this does for me. I like this better or that better, but it scratches the same itch pretty much. But those games are, I think, exceptional when we have them on the top 3 games. I mean, top 3 is not a lot.
And as I said, so in that regard, I think 2016 is a good year. Almost every year is now a good year, because so much stuff is coming out. There's prone to be something that's good.
Yeah, but they are always different. They're not always the same kind of awesome
That's
years.
what I was going for. Those 3 games I picked are really different. There's a fast-paced one. You could argue saying, well, Terraforming Mars and Scythe have some similarities. There's area to be controlled. Although I wouldn't say that Terraforming Mars is strictly an area control game.
No.
Terraforming Mars for me is more about building an engine and getting that up and running, whereas Scythe is more about the actual action selection, and yes, there's an engine too, and you need to get it running, but then there's so much other stuff going around.
Yes, it's not the major mechanic.
I'd say the map in Scythe plays more an important role than it does in Terraforming Mars.
Exactly. Terraforming Mars is major building engine, and Scythe is one of three things and that drafting. Is quite equal is a building engine, so they are different for me as well. Do you have an honorary mention? I'm just asking because I do have one this year. I didn't have any last year.
Yes, and a game that was and this is not a surprise. This is not a spoiler for the surprise section because it won't come up, so I can technically mention it here. Would be Railroad Revolution, which is also a game that I was surprised by. That it is quite simple, but still has a lot of depth. I get the where Scythe, I would say, is like already really. It's heavy in its. Yeah. I mean, it's not a super heavy game in regards to mechanics.
With a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on.
So many things.
And Railroad Revolution feels more like a streamlined game, similar more to Viticulture or
exactly
games like that. That is. Actually quite easy. It's a really neat family style game that I really like, and this year I think has been pretty good for Eurogames.
Very
in
much
general.
so. Yeah. And maybe last year was more like the getting totally new people into the hobby, and this year it's more like on the advanced level, but not the super heavy level yet. Yeah. There's a lot going on there, so maybe the industry just grows with.
And don't get me wrong, I still very much like thematic games or Ameritrash games.
Yeah, we don't discard them. No.
Those are just on another list.
Yes. So my honorary mention is Terraforming Mars, because we have that in common on our list. And I have a number one that is not on your list at all. It's Tokaido. This is my number one. For one, I really like this game. It could be...
we got it in February, right?
Yeah, it could be a number 2 or a number 3 on my list as well. But it being number 1 is because it is my favorite artwork designer for board games. Xavier outdid himself again. And, well, it's Antoine's game, so I'm totally fangirling here. I'm sorry. It's really hard to be better than an Antoine Bozard game on my personal list. You really gotta work.
And
he's gonna have a bad year.
Let me guess if that wouldn't have been on there, or if we'd say we disqualify that because it's an older game, would that be Kanagawa a close runner-up, or is that too...
No, I haven't played that enough to have a really good opinion about it. I like what I see, but I'm still in that stage that I say, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. We just played it once, but also just from the looks, gorgeous. Yeah, that's... Gorgeous, it's gorgeous game. It's like, fair, oh my gosh, this is an artist's orgasm looking at this game.
It's an entirely different game in comparison to Tokaido, but
it's just as beautifully painted and made. Just looking at it is, it's an orgasm. It's like window shopping.
This is good that this is a kid's... Oh, forget it.
Well, they gotta learn.
Cheers.
It's not about fornicating, it's about that thing, you know?
What?
So, no. All the other weirdos out there will now nod. You're not a weirdo. So let's go with the co-op games.
Cooperative games.
Well, that's so suitable for...
Shall I start this time?
Yes, please.
Okay. Now, then again, it might be...
Shall I start? Because mine is ranked.
No, it might. I'm thinking about... I'm not entirely sure what would be a clear number one. I think I can go with that. Okay. But my number 3 would be a game that we just got recently, which is Max vs. Minions, which I like for, first of all, it is amazing components. The box you're getting for that is just overwhelmingly great. And I like programming games. For those of you who don't know what I'm doing as a day job, you have a wild guess, but it is, yes, poking mechs to destroy other people, or programming as it's called in this game. And I really enjoy that. The thing that would nod it or put it down from other games on my list a little bit is it's almost a little bit too unpredictable and frantic at times, or it's difficult to do that. But we haven't done a review of...
no, not yet, because we haven't played enough
of that yet, because we want to see a little bit more of the game to get a good idea. But what I've seen so far, I really like, and I think I got a good idea where they're going for. With the overall game, and I like the core mechanics good enough, and that it combines a couple of things that I really like. I like good-looking minis, I like good-looking artwork, I very much like programming games, and I like cooperative games, which is why this makes my list.
Well, I'm gonna have something that at least I associate with my number 3. Said now before I say my number 3. Max vs. Minions is on my whole list, like all the categories, twice. So it comes up twice.
Okay.
But it's not my number 3. You can try and deduce, better said, not deduct, deduce, where it's gonna come up. But
I think
my number 3.
I know one of the games on your co-op list, but go
my
ahead.
number 3 is has to do with deducing, and there is The Bridge.
That's where
Sherlock Holmes, consulting detectives. We're currently playing it. It's for the two of us on Wednesday nights, which is our date night. We're solving mysteries. It's more of a
and murders,
pen and
straight out murders.
Yeah, pen and paper, but not like in an RPG, but. He's reading clues and stories. I'm writing down and mind mapping what we find out, and well, then we castle
our
thing. Way through pretty much all of London, and try to be as clever or even more clever, hence faster than Sherlock Holmes. So I enjoy that a lot because, well, I do like mystery. I do like crime solving. I'm very fond of, or I find it just very interesting when it comes to crime. It being written like fantasy, scripted, no true, or real crime. I'm very, very interested in, well, just how the human mind could work and how good or how awful it could be.
I don't know if this game is actually a good display of that. But
No. But I don't find it gruesome, but the way and the logic that is behind trying to solve any kind of puzzle, it being a mystery, a crime, a jigsaw puzzle, a nonogram, it's all the same. It's a simple yes, no, yes, no. And I'm very good at that. I'm very black and white when it comes to, am I going to discard a thought or put it somewhere and shelf it? Or am I going to go down a road and try to investigate? Also, and this is right down my alley.
Also, Sarah really, it's a love-hate relationship, but Sarah likes to watch crime series with me.
Yeah, but only some, not all of them. I don't like all the, what are they called? CSI New York, CSI something. They're repetitive.
No, stuff like Castle. So this
I like
kind of hammed up or series. And she
Bosch,
really dislikes me making predictions early on. And even worse, sometimes being right. So this game is... Actually, brings my skill of ruining plot points.
No, it's not that. But when you're constantly, like in every episode, able to predict what's going on, then the writing in that show is not good. You have to be thrown off once in a while. If that happens, like with Bosch, for example,
within reason.
It's a good writing, and I'm very much about, well, the core of me is stories and writing, and I like that, and I like it in different kinds of ways, it being film, board games like RPGs, or TV shows. There's lots and lots of writing that I do like. Books, of course, any kind of books, but I like good writing, and when that is then a mystery or a crime story, even better. And then when it's, well, trying to solve that case with that writing with you, it's my number 3. I just really like that game.
I'll move this feature along by
please.
going to my number 2. Which would be Mansions of Madness 2nd edition, which is, I think it sounds like hyperbole saying it's been a revelation, but that is the game that I was really blown away by the app integration. Now, this does actually sound more than it is, but Mansions of Madness 2nd edition really blends the lines between video game and board game for the best of both worlds, for me at least. There's some level of interactivity, storytelling, and just not exactly knowing what's going on while still having something that would usually be really complex to pull off just with cards. Another game we own, a game that I do like, even specifically for some of the mechanics going on there, would be Kingdom Death, which is kind of now feels like from an older decade to me, because I would wish
it doesn't have an app.
I would wish now that they would have automated some of the busy work there.
But then again, there's way less busy work in Kingdom Death than it is in, say, Descent or Mansions of Madness. I felt they had less busy work there because it's a card stack and it's not token here, token there, token tralala.
But you have your character progression, you have your equipment, and you have your materials, and you have your little bonus tokens that we forgot.
It didn't feel that busy. I felt way more busy than with other games. I'm not saying it's not busy at all, and it couldn't use an app. It can definitely use an app. But
a lot of reading rules, which the app also takes care of. So
that is true, yes.
So Mansions... we technically had 2 app-driven games. One would be Madness, and the other would be also from Fantasy Flight, Descent Road to Legend, which came out earlier. But if you've followed us, you know I picked up Descent after being really, really surprised positively by Mansions, and I could have picked either, although I have to say that I like Mansions so far a little bit better from the scenario content, because the scenarios or the games we've played so far had felt so different. In Descent, it is Descent, don't get me wrong, but you
get what you expect.
You're playing the same thing over and over, while Mansions sometimes mixes it up and says, well, this is not only a game about fighting monsters, there's more, and I really enjoyed that.
Well, my number 2 is pretty illegal. It's Burgle Bros. I really like that game. It's so awesome. You get to do all the things that you shouldn't do and probably will not do in real life, but you're rewarded for burgling banks and offices and stuff. And it's so cute. It's a rather small game when you put it on the table, but man, is there a lot of game in that tiny little wooden block and that tile, and oh my gosh. And it really, you're sitting there like, okay, it's not just like the la 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 la, this is kind of an easy game and I'm gonna do things with it, it doesn't look like much. No, it's involved. It's a real game, and it comes in a tiny box, and you can put it in your purse, and you can travel with it. Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, my number one. Let me first think, do I have an honorary mention? So far you haven't said anything where I was like, damn, I totally forgot about that. And
other than Tricarion on the other list.
Or
Tokaido on the other list. Just making fun.
But the thing I enjoyed most this year has to be Time Stories Prophecy of Dragons.
Yep.
Which is...
I'm gonna second that.
Which is... still my favorite scenario for Time Stories. I think we made it no secret that we really, really enjoy and love Time Stories. And the reason that I have Time Stories on here is also probably the reason why I don't have Holmes Consulting Detective on here. Because, again, this kind of filled my... This is the story game.
Yeah.
I enjoy Consulting Detective and I enjoy playing this together, but
yay!
I like that Time Stories. Just love this. Here's a new mechanic we added in there, and it's just surprising at every turn. Not only from the story content, but also from the game content itself.
Totally second that, and I'm just gonna mention my honorable mention, and it's Mechs versus Minions would be my number 4. So that's the first time it's mentioned on my list.
Okay.
Just one more to go.
As an honorary mention.
Yes.
Okay, so
what category do you want to do now?
Do we want to go with the best, with the moment, best, disappointing, and surprising?
And surprise. Okay. We can do that.
Now, you may start this time.
So, what are we going to start with?
You can pick one. I don't care in particular.
Okay.
We have to get through all of them, and you cannot run away, so...
I thought you meant me. Okay, so let's go with the best, because that's just so easy. Best.
I'm sure we might have something similar.
Best moment is it's actually a whole conglomerate of moments. It started in March when you said we got the tickets.
Yeah.
Then it went on with we're good to go on the flight and the hotel room. And then it was, you gotta work now because vacation's gonna come up. We're gonna fly to Dallas to BGGCon 2016. So all BGGCon 2016, which is, the whole conglomerate of moments is the best. And it has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of single little tiny moments that do make this whole BGG as my best moment.
That is a good choice for your best moment.
Really?
I think
it was a good birthday present.
Yeah, BGGCon also for me the thing, but to my surprise, I would say it's.
You're on the surprise already?
No. To my surprise,
okay.
It is the best, mostly or. Despite the games that been played there, although despite may be the wrong word.
No, it's there's a lot of things that we did expect. Playing really great games, but there's way more happening there that we maybe did not expect, and that is despite, I guess, what
Just in for me, it's been meeting up and getting to meet a whole bunch of great people. That's fun to hang out with.
And just seeing people again that I really missed.
Seeing people.
Talking to you, Bruce.
We haven't seen in a long time, and for that, if you've been wondering, there's a blog on the internet called Foxbat's Secret Lair, which belongs to a friend of ours who sponsored. So this is kind of product placement.
Kind of. It's a gift.
I hear he's going to sell some of his bitters at some point in time.
I would love that. I would definitely buy
he's
them.
Valiantly defending and saying, "I'm not. I have never said that." But then
I know,
at some point
but maybe we can make him. No, but it was really, really good. I was so looking forward to seeing Joe and seeing Bruce, because these are the two people that we see regularly, but it's like once a year or maybe once every 2 years. It's not very often, and I miss them. So whenever we can meet up and then play board games together, it's just.
That's also the other surprise. I didn't really think that we get to play as many games as we have played with them.
Yeah, awesome.
But yeah, I think I would still put the people over the games.
Definitely,
that we
because
played.
well, the games are great, but if you're not having cool people to play them with,
Yeah.
they're just pretty boxes sitting on a shelf, you know.
And I realized that we're in a quite privileged position.
Yes,
we're living so close to Essen and being able to pick up most of the stuff there. So it's cool for us, but it's not the.
Just reminds me of the raffle night when you said we're so privileged.
Oh, yeah.
So you got to tell that story. We got to put that in there just for you to giggle with us.
So one of the raffle prizes was you win a trip to Essen. I was so desperately hoping to win that prize to say thank you. Now
20 minutes.
Now you can give me the public transport ticket to go over there.
€4. Come on, let's go. We were giggling so hard. We had so much fun at the table with all of our friends making funny jokes about what if the Germans that live super close to Essen win exactly that prize. I would have peed my pants, folks. And then I would happily have given this prize away to somebody else that is not living as close as we do. But I would have just been so hilariously, I don't know.
True.
Yeah. But it was just, all in all, it was just so much fun. And kind of transitioning to the disappointment point on my list, it was so different than Spiel, because Spiel for me this year was very disappointing. For 1 year, I could only go one day, so I could go to BGGCon, but that was fine. But there were just so many things that trigger me and bug me, and they all came to be, that it was too much. For one, parking situation this year was horrible. And there were, because, well, it was vacation time, and they had more halls and another trade show with Spiel in the same halls, plural, that there was so many people that me, the tiny person, got a mild to medium panic attack, which is not great. Can tell you that. So Spiel was way less relaxing for me, but BGGCon was super relaxing. This is where I can handle thousands of people, no problem at all. But with Spiel, so many people just bumping, not looking, not being kind, just being what people in groups could be on the worst part of the spectrum, which this year just... Nope, didn't like it. So yeah, that's my disappointment. Spiel 2016.
And again, you're stealing my thunder because
I'm so sorry.
Although I have to say specifically,
it's our thunder.
For me, the most disappointing thing about Essen, and yes, Essen is also on my list. This time was the logistics in particular, because I've been there every day and drove in with a car, and it's pretty much a nightmare. I mean, I understand that this year there were more people attending.
Yeah, and there was school vacation, and there was the comic trade show.
There.
Yeah, but it's bigger. That one got bigger. It got a half more hall, and just people come in.
It wasn't much bigger than the years before, but the terrible thing was
and public transport broke down.
Public transport broke down, and also regular traffic was directed really badly. Then parking areas filled up, and you got the notice when it was already filled up, and not beforehand. And so you were just circling the pudding. It was crowded on the streets. It was crowded in the halls.
Everywhere.
I was pleasantly surprised, and this is not the surprising moment for me, but I was pleasantly surprised that we actually got to demo quite a few games, but that only happened on Saturday and Sunday, where we stumbled across stuff like Railroad Revolution or BIOS Genesis, and so there was still positive in there. But all in all, it was the worst Spiel that we experienced so far, and I'm pretty sure, because I heard rumors from the public
working people downstairs, that while it got noticed on the public transport and the city and everything that it was so bad. So I'm hoping that they do change things up for next year or just improve on. I mean, yes, this trade show is great, and yes, of course, more people are gonna come.
It's cool that the hobby of board games is growing and more people are coming. But
trains breaking down.
I think
like
this
once
is more
a day,
counterproductive.
Yeah, it's not great because you don't have 2 disappointed people; you have thousands of disappointed people. And I mean,
objection before you read your surprise and steal my thunder again. It's my
it's your thing. But I just if anybody that is working in public offices in Essen, please make sure that this trade show stays there with very happy gamers. We come there every year. For a reason.
Wally is sad for most disappointing moments.
Yeah. So now you can do the surprise.
The surprising moment thing this year for me, I kind of quasi-mentioned, and that it would be apps in games or applications in games. I already said Mansions of Madness is really good with the app integration. I really like the Road to Legend Descent stuff, and they recently updated that. We didn't get a chance to look at that. But so I enjoyed games like XCOM, which also had app integration. But it seems to me that starting with this year, they finally got to nail down the how to do it properly, so that I'd rather play a game with that than in any other form. So I'm certainly not one of those who are saying, oh, don't want to have an app in my board game because it's not playable later on, or it's some other thing. I like them, but for me, they have to serve a practical purpose. And for this year, it was the first time where I felt that, this app is saving me time, it's enhancing my experience overall, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of that and maybe even more refinement of that beyond, and see that appear in other things. And
I'm with you there. I'm not having the same thing, but that idea of the app thing is going to come up on another list for me. Not exactly what you're saying, but I'm with you there. When you remember beginning of the video when I said how many games we played, different kind of games, 109 in 52 weeks. And 262 rounds of those, you can see that we don't have one game that we play like 14 times. Yes, we had Timeline. The next one was Pandemic Legacy with 11 plays.
And you kind of have to do those to get through the game.
We play a lot of games, and we play the usual thing is we test them Wednesday, we bring them to the table on Sunday, we see what our group thinks, we put them either on the shelf, yes, they tested it, and we're gonna play that again, or maybe we take it to the parents, or we have a campaign and we play it very often. But we learn a lot of games, we play a lot of different games. So any app that is saving us time when it comes to reading a lot of rules that are maybe put in tiny boxes and they counteract each other on exactly that moment, or they're not as easy and streamlined as roll a die and go. It just makes it easier for us to have an app in there. So I'm with you there that I say app is not going to destroy board game as long as it is just a helper and not the main mechanic in a game. So... yeah.
So what's
my surprise? I do have honorable mentions. They were surprises from before or from the first day of Essen, what you brought back and what I saw on the BGG stream and stuff. I was surprised that there were a lot of tile-laying games in 2016. Seemed to be a theme, as well as Mars or London. So... these were the tiny surprises, but the real surprise, and I have to go back to BGG. I'm sorry, I'm going to be so annoying. Test playing. I did not expect to test play games this year that are in development / close to production, and I was super surprised by that, and I enjoyed both of those games so much. It was just a lovely time to, test play and meet the designers and talk to them and chat and just hang out and have fun, but giving constructive feedback. And for both of those games, when they come out, I'm super curious on what the final product is going to be. So,
okay.
Yeah, that was my surprise.
So shall I pick one from...
Yes, please. Pick.
Let's get the sad stuff out of the way and end up on a high note. So our last category is play or game. In this case, I'm going to pick the disappointing play or game. And for me, that unfortunately was Solar Fide, which is which is a 2-player game, which I'm just from looking the material that came up prior to release, I was kind of expecting more from that, and then it turned out to be just boring. It has some interesting aspects with you're drafting a deck of actions together, and you use that, and you have this tug of war over those districts. But that game, that tug of war is everything that is going on there, and then at some point, either your deck is really good or better at doing something than your opponent, and you can exploit that, and that is kind of, you can shake hands immediately. It's like the chess joke with the move one pawn and then shake hands. Or, and that is even more frustrating to me, you have kind of equalized decks, and it's not so much about the decision you make, but it's rather about do you get cards in the right sequence to...
Yes, exactly. I'm with you there.
To claim your stuff.
That's on my disappointment list for the same reason. I do have 2 more things on my disappointment list.
And I want to say, I don't think that it's necessarily a bad game, but it was disappointing for me because I was actually looking forward to a more involved Euro or more like 2-player game that we could play, and we're always
looking for 2-player games that are interesting and just fun for us, because we do have a specific night of the week set aside to play board games, and when we don't want to learn a new game for the group on the weekend, or maybe we've just done that but we want to spend more time together, we usually go for the 2-player games and not the kind of changed version of a bigger game. So we're always looking for those, and I was so disappointed that it didn't do what I thought it could do. It's not that I felt betrayed, but it's just there's so much more that it could be.
And I mean, Stronghold Games had really a lot of really good releases this year, so I mean, it happens. You have one that's less than impressive.
It's not the end of the world.
Or at least not for us.
No, it's not the end of the world, but I'm kind of sad that. The other one.
It's disappointing.
Yeah, the other one was We Held Hands, where I felt the same way. And I was kind of disappointed about the way the app of Mansions of Madness was programmed, but I said enough about that in the actual video, so I'm not going to repeat. But that was on my disappointment list as well. That
see how conflicted we still are.
Living with a programmer of things that are digital. You kind of see behind the curtains, and then you're even more disappointed when things are not as great as they could be. So, but what do you want to go next with?
I'll pick
the best or the surprise?
Yeah, I'll pick the best.
Okay.
And those could be in either of 2. I'm going to go with, again, related to BGCon, our group play of Telestrations, which I greatly enjoyed.
Oh, yes. It was amazing.
Which is a simple game, but you have to mix up a game like Telestrations with us being non-native speakers. You might get the impression that we know how to speak English, but
there's some words we don't know.
Which I would say, these are kind words you're thinking.
Yes.
But there's specifically when it comes to phrases or stuff like that, we are like, oh. Let me do that literal, and then you.
Yeah, what was the Harry Potter with the dildo? I don't know if you know how that came about.
There was like some cocktail bingo or something like that. It's hilarious, and the other one would have been Monica's.
Monica's, same group.
Same group, similar style of party game. I really enjoyed both of them, and again, not so much for the game, but more for the group of people. And
Well, my best game was also because of the person you played with, and not because of the game. But the game is Scrabble. In a very specific round of that, which happened on the 15th of August this year, which is our wedding anniversary. And it was the first time that a hobby won against me. We had a theme going this time around. Sometimes we do have, you can only play dirty words or stuff, but this year it was wedding. So he had to find German words or English words, we play bilingual, that have to do with wedding, and he was super good. He connected quite a couple of things to my brother's wedding, which was, for one, hilarious, and second, ultra cute. So, that was the best game, because you won for the first time. I was very proud of you.
I was proud of myself too, although it probably was
Altherzogen for the Germans.
Coincidence. So let's end this show with the surprise game or play where the thing that did surprise me, although I already had high expectations in a positive way, was playing a demo of Anachrony, which is coming out next year, which I was really impressed by that. I mean, again, no secret, we really like Tricarion, and I was going in and saying, I hope it's at least as good as Tricarion, and playing it, I think I'm going to enjoy it even a little bit more than Tricarion. Although it's different themes, but Anachrony is also Euro style game with worker placement elements, but also time travel involved in a way that feels pretty good. So it's I think it's difficult to make games based on or around time travel and getting that into gameplay mechanics in a meaningful way. And Anachrony does that in a pretty good way, where you can use resources now, but you could technically say, you're taking a loan and you have to pay back that loan, but it feels really fitting to that time travel mechanic where you can use something now, but remember, you have to send it back in time in the future, and hopefully you can prepare up for that. And that just opens up so many
brain farts,
different
I'm gonna lose at that game.
Interactions and things you can do. It feels simultaneously like I can do anything, and then I can't do anything. Which is something I do appreciate from time to time if it's done well.
Yeah. Well, my surprise is also kind of an award. This year, it's the best insert ever, and the award goes to Mechs vs. Minions.
This game somehow knew that.
Oh, well, there was only the last category where this game could come up, because I didn't mention it anyway.
I forgot already about that, but when I said the best insert, that was...
Yeah, but I was surprised. We're always saying we very much appreciate very good inserts, or good inserts. And they don't have to be
packaging in general.
Packaging in general. It's like, we very, very much appreciate that. But this time I opened the box and I was like, okay, I'm going to prep all the games that we got, because we got it delivered around Spiel. I'm going to prep them for gameplay, like unpack everything, do the Ziplocs, blah, 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 blah. You know the drill. You've been probably with me on Talk O'Clock. So, and then you open the box and you just... nothing to do, nothing. It's perfectly put into the inserts, and in a way, that massive amount of minis and cards and cardboard pieces all fits into a very heavy but relatively nice sized box. What the heck?
And
Bravo.
This might be a spoiler for a review if we do a review, but that extends to the entire setting up, getting into the game thing. It's very streamlined. It's almost as if someone who really knows how to do video game tutorials did a board game, which
or like someone like us who's very picky about inserts thought about, okay, yes, the gameplay is good and everything's great in the tutorials, everything's good, but how can we put it into a box that is ecologically efficient, that is...
I don't know about that, because there's a lot of plastic in there.
No. Fantasy Flight is worse because they have so much empty space. But Max versus Minions, there is no empty space. Yes, there's plastic, and yes, the box is big, but there's no empty space.
But it's fair to say that I think there's almost no Fantasy Flight game that doesn't come with expansions later on. So
correct.
If you want to put that together, but
that's an argument.
Max versus Minions is production quality and package quality.
Yeah, this should be like the tutorial for people that design inserts for the game companies. Take a look at it. You don't have to like the game, just take a look how it's done. And it was, like I said, it's just, I opened the box, it was like, oh, the Messiah has come. The Messiah of the board game inserts.
Especially comparing that, I mean, you said Fantasy Flight to other games in that price range, because there's other games with that amount of minis around, or even less. And
or just that amount of euros or dollars, and... Yeah. Kind of like cardboard and minis and how they do things. It was just exceptional. So it got an award in my personal book. So thank you, folks.
And that concludes our nominations year talk. I know you're imploding with excitement over there, and I can see it. So
I have to put in a German lesson before. Are you already angeschickert?
No. It's the ice. The ice has melted.
Yeah, because you got a red ear. By the way, angeschickert means tipsy.
Let's take a look at what
the last calendar box.
The last duck of the year is going to be. Again,
Wally wants to watch too.
It's a white duck on white background, and it's. Now let me check. Where's the? Oh, he says arg. Okay.
Arg.
It's a pirate duck, which is our pirate duck. Pretty much. It's more agile than I would have thought it could be. Maybe
He watched Tarzan on Disney or something. I'm sorry.
And now for the
last game.
Last game, which maybe make it to our next year's list if it is good enough. We don't know.
I hope so. I hope that I'm not gonna screw up with what I decided to gift you with.
Let's see what we have here. I'll
rip it.
It's another book. This must be terrible on the audio, but...
Oh, it's actually the editing scales it down quite a bit.
It's another book by Ken Follett, Die Tore der Welt, which I'm going to
The Gates of the World.
And
to the world?
Looking at this...
Of the world.
It's, it's another... So when Sarah gave me a hint some time ago saying, hey, don't buy any Cosmos games, I was like, okay, so the last game, if it's also a Cosmos game...
Or ask before you buy, and I have to approve.
Was it also illustrated by Michael Menzel and...
I said, I don't know. I couldn't say yes.
Then I looked just at the board, and I said, yep, that looks like it could be directly from Legends of Endor. And yeah, that's... I haven't read either. I haven't read the. Pillars of the Earth
I have.
nor-
Well, I have the audiobook. I don't have the book, but upstairs there's the
Do
audiobook
you
of
know the original, the English
Pillars?
title?
Of this one. I think it's the Gate of the World. I'm not sure.
Gates of the World.
Yeah, it's plural, die Tore. So it's the gates
I don't.
of the world.
I
Don't know. But this could be very much for you because the Glückpilze, so the luck factor,
Both.
is very low again. So
Yes. And
thought
it's,
this could
and
be
it's
for
for,
you.
for 12 years and older. I'm older
Yeah.
than 12 years, so
Are you?
maybe
Slightly.
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 Slightly. I'm older enough than 12 years to complain about 12 years in online video games.
Yeah. Well, being 13 and he starts complaining.
Yes.
So yeah, this was our year.
Hope you had a good year. Hope you'll be having a good year in front of you for next year. We certainly hope we do so. And we will be back for you and hopefully with you in January.
On the 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15. Should be the 15th. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Oh no. 16th. Right?
Somewhere in January.
The Sunday of the week from the 9th of January. It's got to be somewhere on the screen when this format is back. I'm sorry, I didn't look at the calendar.
At some point when the sun is rising and the weather is shiny and...
The weather is shiny?
No?
No.
Let it snow. Whatever.
We're going to eat the rabbit now.
See you in January. Thanks for sticking with us.
Merry Christmas to you and
Merry
your family
Christmas.
and your loved ones and your friends. Be safe. Drink only as much as you think you can digest. Same goes for eating. Be kind. Be friendly. Have fun. Play games. Do art. Do what makes you happy. But in the legal way, maybe.
In that spirit, cheers to
the
you.
tiny little thing.
Thanks for sticking with us
Thank
with another year, and see you on the other side.
Yeah, see you on the flip side.
Goodbye.
Bye. Cheers, babe. Booyah.